Hey, I'm Kai, and in this video I'm just going to do a quick tutorial on how to use the Ampero II Stomp by Hoptone in 4-cable method with a real amp. There'll be timestamps in the description box and chapter markers on the video if you'd like to skip around to the part that you're interested in. With that, let's start by asking the simple question, why would you want to use 4-cable method? So 4-cable method means that you can run effects before your amplifier as well as in your amp's effects loop. This would typically be things like compressors, wahs and drives up front, and things like delays, reverbs and modulation in the loop. I'll throw in a clip of what the reverb sounds like before the amp as well as in the effects loop, so you get an idea of why you'd want to set this up. So this is what the reverb sounds like in the effects loop. This is the way you'd expect to hear it. And this is what it sounds like into the front end of the amp. Essentially what's happening here is that the decay trails of the reverb are also being distorted, making the whole thing a lot muddier. Now the cabling for this setup is super simple. I'll leave a diagram up on screen, but I'll also flick over to the B cam and show you how I plug it all in. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take our guitar cable and plug it into the guitar input of the Ampero Stomp. The next thing you want to do is you want to connect your output left of the Ampero II Stomp into the input of your amplifier. For the effects loop routing, this gets a little bit complicated, but you want to run the effects send from your amp to the effects return of the pedal and vice versa. Don't turn your amp on until you've configured the device first, so what I'm now going to do is I'm going to switch on the Ampero II Stomp. The first thing you want to do in the Ampero II Stomp is go into the global settings, under input/output, change the output level from line over to instrument. This is sort of guitar level, which is what the amp's expecting to see. I'll quickly show you that one again on the unit. So on the unit you want to come up into the settings menu, then under I/O you want to change your output level from line to instrument. You need to configure your patch in order for this 4-cable method routing to work. So the first thing you're going to need to do is switch over to the parallel routing if that's not already where it's set. You can do this by tapping the layers icon either in the desktop editor or on the unit, and under factory template select parallel. Now the top line of the signal chain is going to be your guitar running into the front end of the amplifier. This should already be set up by default, but if it's not, you're going to make sure that the input left is selected for the input, and for the output you want the output to be selected. The second chain is where we have to change things up a little bit from stock. So you want to set the input to FX return instead, and then you want to set the output to FX send. This should now mean that we've got everything set up correctly, so you should be safe to turn your amp on from here, though it's a good idea to just turn the volume knob down on the unit, just to give you a bit of safe space. So with everything now configured, you can roll up the volume knob on the Ampero and check that it's all working. The volume on maximum should be unity gain, so this is where you should have it set to be acting most like a normal guitar. So now I'm just going to quickly demonstrate that we can throw effects up in front and in the loop. So on the top I'm going to add a drive pedal. Let's add something distorted. I think that'll give us the best idea of what's going on. Let's go for the governor, turn the volume down a bit, maybe the gain up. And then in the effects loop we can run a reverb. I have configured a 4-cable method patch that I'm now going to switch over to just to give you a better idea of what's going on. Before I do that though, please drop me a like and subscribe if you're enjoying this video and finding it helpful. It goes a long way towards helping me out and helping me produce videos like this. Also, if you haven't already purchased an Ampero II Stomp for yourself, there's an affiliate link in the description box down below. So I've set up all sorts of different effects on my patch. I'm going to start with a clean tone. We're going to go for a compressor, modulation, delay and reverb. This is the Keeley compressor that I found myself liking already. For the modulation I'm running the 90s phaser, and then for delay we've got the analog delay mono. For reverb we're going to use the concert reverb. I'm also going to switch over to a distorted tone on the amp and run through some other effects. This is what the distorted tone sounds like completely dry. Now the first thing I'm going to do is engage a boost just to bring it up a little bit and tighten it up. Let's see how that sounds. I have got quite a lot of noise going, but this is a fantastic feature with the Ampero II Stomp. You can run a noise gate in the effects loop, but sidechain it to your input so that it only kicks in when your guitar receives a signal. Let's also see if we can boost this up to a solo tone and add in that delay and reverb again. So thank you so much for checking out this video. I really do hope you found it useful. As mentioned, there's a link in the description box down below if you'd like to purchase this unit for yourself. Otherwise, that's all I've got for this one, so thank you for watching. I've been Kai.